Welcome to the Handcrafted Podcast, the business of making things. I'm Paul, founder of Philadelphia Table Company and the Handcrafted Network, and I believe great craftsmanship deserves great business strategy. This podcast is for makers who want to build not just great products, but a thriving business. Each episode will dive into the mindset, systems, and skills that turn craft into success. All right, guys, welcome back to the Handcrafted Podcast. I just want to say thank you for subscribing and for listening. It's been awesome getting to know you guys. I've been getting a lot of emails and questions and feedback. I've been meeting a few of you guys in person, which has been awesome. I've also had a bunch of you guys jump over and join the community, which is also awesome. I love connecting with you guys. I love learning about your business. I love seeing you help others. I love seeing others help you and watching you grow. It's been awesome. It's been hands down absolutely amazing. What may be one of the most rewarding things I've done in my life is doing this, because I love seeing people grow and help each other and connect. I think that we're at a really interesting time period where we just aren't connecting like we used to. I think everyone sort of is like maybe hiding behind a computer screen. Like, yeah, we're all connected through social media and stuff, but actually being able to like talk to people has been amazing. So like the group calls and stuff and getting support and watching people help each other it's been rad. So if you're interested in joining the community, if you're sick of feeling isolated, like you're the only person doing it, if you are looking for help scaling or growing, if you don't know what the next steps are, if you want to connect with other people, all of that sort of stuff, and you're interested in joining, send me an email, paul@thehandcraftednetwork.com. I'd love to tell you more about it. We set up a free call. I'll talk to you guys and chat about it. And yeah. Anyways, it's been awesome. So with that said, this podcast is brought to you by the Handcrafted Network, an online classroom and community where you get to connect with other makers and learn the skills you need to grow your business or make your business better or make your business less stressful. Yeah. All right. So on today's podcast, I wanted to talk about a book that I recently read called Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. Will Guidara is the owner of 11 Madison Park. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar with 11 Madison Park, it's a Michelin star restaurant in New York City. It was once voted top restaurant in the world, which is pretty mind-blowing to be known as that. He was part of Danny Meyer's group. So Danny Meyer's owns Shake Shack and a few other things, and he really is great at building businesses and listening to the public, as well as having like great team stuff. So Will, who now owns 11 Madison Park, he was an employee at the time, talks about in the book Unreasonable Hospitality how he created basically the best restaurant in the world. He was also on a podcast recently called My First Million. I'll put a link to that in the show notes so you can check that out. He is awesome. At some point, if I get big enough, I'd love to have Will on my podcast because Will is super inspiring and the book was great. So I finished the book and I presented the idea of Unreasonable Hospitality to my team on Monday, and the team really loved it. They really loved the idea of it. So I'm going to talk about it here with you guys and talk about some of the things we're going to potentially try to implement at Philadelphia Table Company, as well as hopefully inspire you to come up with some of your own ideas. So Unreasonable Hospitality is exactly what it is. It's doing things that are above and beyond. For me, and I've always felt like this, is just delivering what you said you were going to deliver kind of is just the bare minimum. So, you know, for us making tables, I know a bunch of you guys do a bunch of different things, but for us making tables and furniture, delivering world-class furniture, outstanding customer service, all that stuff to me is just like the barrier to entry. That's just like getting in the door. That's like the bare minimum, right? So I'm all constantly trying to figure out how are ways that we can do better. Like those are the things that are expected, right? You go to a restaurant, you expect your food to be hot, you expect your food to be cooked, you expect it to come out. But there are so many other things you can do that are like above and beyond that really create an amazing experience. If you look at Philadelphia Table Company's reviews, it's pretty interesting to look and see that, of course, we do great quality stuff. People are commenting on that, but most people are commenting on the experience part of it. They're talking about how great the delivery team was. They're talking about the experience of designing their custom pieces, of their experience of working with our team, our communication. Those are the things that people actually shout out on the Google reviews. So I'm trying to create even more experiences around what we're doing. So I wanted to break down, I'm probably going to do some multiple episodes on Unreasonable Hospitality because there's a lot of really great stuff. He talks a lot about team as well as sort of this stuff that we're going to talk about today. But like managing teams, growing businesses, scaling, all that stuff is talked about in the book. Today we're going to focus on just like kind of one element of it, which is like the core of what it is, which is Unreasonable Hospitality. So he talks about different experiences for different people. So he talks about a one-size-fits-all. We're going to break this all down. So he talks about a one-size-fits-all. He talks about a one-size-fits-some and a one-size-fits-one. So let's start with the largest category, one-size-fits-all. So one-size-fits-all is something that happens to every customer, every client that comes in the door for you. So in a restaurant, for the example that he gave was every customer gets a check. They get a check at the end of the meal. It's expected. This is something that happens with every single person. Just like for all of us, unless you're doing things for free, I guess, we have to ask them for money too. So for him, he wanted to figure out how does he elevate that check experience. And, we can all relate as, I'm sure we've all been to restaurants before. And there are times when they give you the check and you feel like you're getting rushed out because they're trying to seat someone at the table. And there are times when they don't give you the check and then you want to get out of there and you're like kind of waving, giving that check signal that we all joke about and, collecting, and then you get annoyed because the check didn't come fast enough. So Will and his team decided to do something different. They're like, okay, this is a one-size-fits-all situation. Everybody gets the check. How can we change this situation? How do we make this a better experience? So what they developed was an idea of, so say there's like a table of 4. He gets a bottle of cognac. He pours 4 glasses for them, puts the bottle in the middle and puts the check under it. He says, hey, this bottle is for you guys. Have as much as you would like. This does a number of things. To me, this is amazing way of handling this situation. This does a number of things. Number one, the check is there, so you're not waiting for it. You know it's there. You can grab it whenever you want. The other thing it does is it signals, hey, we're not kicking you out. How could we be kicking you out if we're giving you a whole bottle for you to finish? He said very rarely people actually finished the whole bottle, but it's still the idea of, hey, this bottle's here for us. Like, how could they possibly be kicking us out? So what they did was, a Michelin experience is an experience. I mean, the meals are very expensive. So you're expecting the check to be expensive. And it's just kind of the way, whatever, going to have to pay the bill. So it's a great way for people to leave the restaurant and to leave it with a really great experience. It's a great way of putting a bow on it. So that's like a one-size-fits-all situation. I think that that's absolutely amazing. So in my company, I was like, okay, so what are the one-size-fits-all? What are the touch points that everyone gets? So everyone obviously gets a delivery. So is there a way we can elevate the delivery experience? Everybody has to pay the bill. Everybody gets drawings. Everybody gets samples. So one of the touch points that we were thinking of was, since we're giving everybody samples, that's kind of their first introduction into our business. So we mail them samples. We're also now asking for samples back just to avoid things in the waste stream, as well as saving us time and energy to make new samples. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is a place to put our first touch point. So and just a random idea was like a Starbucks gift card. The thing I don't love about the Starbucks gift card is it's like a specific dollar amount. So it's like, hey, here's $10 to Starbucks. It's like, okay, so we're only worth $10 to you. And to me, it's like, what can we do that's like not dollar associated, that has sort of some other valuable thing in there? So that's something we're working on now. I'm going to put a bucket or cup on my desk with a little notepad for people to write ideas and drop them in. We're going to see what kind of ideas the team comes up with. So that's sort of what we're thinking. For all of you guys, everybody has a one-size-fits-all thing because you guys have clients. So I think that's a good one. So the next category he talks about is the one-size-fits-some. So one-size-fits-some is a really interesting one because it's for things where some of the people fit, not all of them. So back to the restaurant thing, the hospitality thing is some people get engaged at 11 Madison Park. How do delight those some people? So it's trying to figure out, some people have X, some people do Y. So for him, what they did was, it's expected when you get it. I don't know if any of you guys, I didn't, but I don't know if any of you guys got engaged in a restaurant, but part of that is it's expected that they're going to give you something. So they give you maybe free champagne, give you a free dessert, tell you congrats. What he did was he created a partnership with Tiffany's, where Tiffany's gives him champagne flutes. So what they do is say, congratulations, here's your champagne in these Tiffany's wine flutes, or whatever, these Tiffany's champagne flutes. And then at the end of the meal, what they do is they clean them, they put them back in the box, put them in the Robin's Blue Tiffany bag, and hand it to them and say, hey, here's a gift for you guys. So this is a win-win situation for Tiffany's as well, because it's a great way for Tiffany's to do brand recognition. Because what are the people going to remember about that dinner experience? They're going to remember the champagne gift, or the champagne flute gift that they received then. So it was like, instead of just like giving them champagne, yeah, of course, champagne costs whatever, but actually give them the champagne flute. So this way they have it. It's something they look at. And every time they pull them out, they're going to say, oh my God, remember that dinner at 11 Madison Park? Remember when we got engaged? All of that stuff. So like creating an experience around it. I think that this is such another really ingenious idea and a really ingenious way to do it. An example for us at our company, something I came up with, is like, what is a one size fits some? And for me, like a one size fits some is like, some of our clients have dogs. So I was like, okay, maybe we do dog treats with our delivery team. And we say, obviously ask, hey, is it okay if we give your dog a dog treat? And then obviously the dog's going to love the treats, because dogs love all treats. And you say, you know what, it looks like your dog really loved these treats. Here's the whole bag, and just give the client the bag of dog treats. It's a low cost thing, and it's something that's like, oh wow, they recognized, they saw me. So I mean, that's just like a rough idea. That's kind of a rough draft of something, but that's along the lines of like what I'm thinking and what we're thinking at Philadelphia Table Company is, what is the way that we can like delight some of the people? And, you know, everybody falls into different categories. So if we're doing that for people with dogs, what do you do with people with cats? What do you do with people with no pets? What do you do with people that have kids? What do we do with people that have no kids? What do you do with people that are just retired? So I think it's like that kind of thing, and like picking up on that sort of stuff, and like listening, hey, this is a brand new home. They just retired. Maybe it's a congratulations on your retirement mug or something like that. You know, something that's a little bit different, that sticks out, that shows that you paid attention, that shows that you listened to what they were talking about. My favorite story of his is the one size fits one. So this is a unique experience for each individual person. So kind of listening to them and being like, okay, what can we do that's unique to them? So he had a group of people at the restaurant that showed up with luggage. So it was kind of their last meal in New York. They had been touring all the places. He overheard them talking about, you know, we went to this place for lunch and this place for dinner and this place. So they were having this full culinary experience. And he overheard them say, the only thing we didn't have, like kind of jokingly, the only thing we didn't have was a hot dog from the park. So he overheard this and goes, okay, this is a great opportunity. So what he did was he sent a runner to the park and bought a hot dog from the park. New York, it's called Dirty Water Dog. So they went out, got a Dirty Water Dog, brought it back to the chef, brought it to the kitchen. The chef sliced it up and presented it on a plate. He plated it, brought it out to them before their dessert. And when he handed it to them, he said, hey, I didn't want you guys to leave New York without a full culinary experience. And their minds were blown. Imagine that kind of situation where you are in a restaurant like that, and it's like somebody picks up on that sort of little detail. And I'm sure those people now to this day still talk about that particular moment. Of course, they remember 11 Madison Park for amazing food, for amazing service, because that's what they went there expecting. What they didn't expect was to have this extra level of service that was like, hey, here's a special hot dog for you. Here's your, you know, we added another course. And you know, that's something I'm sure they're continually talking about and continually sharing with friends over and over again. Like, it's the kind of story that everyone continues to share. So I'm like, what is the one-of-one experience that we can do? And we have a lot of touch points along the way where we get to know these people pretty personally. We're building furniture that goes in their house. It's a pretty intimate experience. So I'm meeting with them on the sales side. Jackie's connecting with them to set up like operations and delivery side. Sophie's sending them drawings. We're sending them samples. Like we can kind of gather a lot of information about these people, about our clients, before we ever deliver anything. So that was my challenge to my team, was how do we go above and beyond? What is the one of one for this individual person? He also talks about in the book, and I think this is also really important, that it's not about the dollar value, because obviously our minds go crazy. Okay, here's a table for you, and here's $1,000 check. Woohoo, right? But it's more about the idea behind it. We always say it's the thought that counts, and I think that's really true here. It's not about like a high dollar value thing. It's not about giving them the most expensive champagne, but to me, it's like the subtle remembrance of something, or like the subtle pickup of something that you noticed that they thought maybe nobody else noticed. So it doesn't need to be about a dollar amount. I think it's about listening, and it's about paying attention, and it's about finding ways to capitalize on that. And if another book that I reference a lot is a book called The Experience Maker. This is all basically about this is all stuff kind of that they talk about in The Experience Maker. And essentially in The Experience Maker, they talk about how your clients can actually be your sales force. And to me, how great of a sales force is it if you are able to create an experience so shareable that everybody's talking about it, that they go, man, they gave me this piece of furniture and they did X. It was amazing. And they gave me a whole bag of dog treats. Like, how sweet, right? So like doing all of those sorts of things, I think, are what's going to really make you stick out. And I had an episode about the purple cow, right? So it's like, this is the purple cow. What are these special things that you can go above and beyond? I also talked about 11 out of 10 service. What does that look like? And to me, this kind of goes even beyond that. This is really racking your brain and trying to figure out what are the things I can do that we don't currently offer that makes sense with what we're doing. And I think that's a big part of it too, is it's like, knowing who your clients are, right? You don't want to give them something like, okay, our clients are purchasing expensive furniture. I'm not going to give them a cheap yo-yo or something, right? That's what's the sense, unless the person used to be a yo-yo champion and they talked about how they had some, old Duncan yo-yo that they lost or something. So like, maybe like something like that, that makes sense. But otherwise, it's like, try to find the things that relate to your clients, that elevate the experience, that don't like bring it down. But yeah, so that's what we're talking about. That's what I'm working on within Philadelphia Table Company, is this Unreasonable Hospitality thing. Check out the podcast that I referenced. It's called My First Million. They had Will on there. Will's great. Read the book, Unreasonable Hospitality. Amazing book. Really, really, really worth the read. I hope this inspired you to kind of go above and beyond. I'm really excited to hear. If you come up with an amazing idea, I would love to hear about it. Oh, and that was the other thing, actually, he talks about in the book. So the people who were making these things happen, he started calling them, he hired people specifically to do this. He called them the dream weavers. So they were the people that made the dreams happen. And what happened is it was called, like, somebody's like, oh my God, this is so legendary. So they started calling them legends. So what they started doing was sharing the different legends within the team. So like in a group text or whatever on social media. So when you do a legend, when you do something that's amazing, send me an email or tag. I would love to see what you guys are doing I would love to see what this inspired you to come up with. And I'll try to share some of the stuff that we're doing at Philadelphia Table Company too, because I think it's just a win-win for all of us if we could just figure out how to, and it could be exciting too for all of us to just try to keep one-upping each other to see who can do the more legendary legend. All right, guys, with that said, I have an office hours coming up. I've been collecting some of your questions. If you have a question that you would like to be included in the next office hours, please email me, paul@thehandcraftednetwork.com. If you have any other questions about this podcast episode or other episodes, again, email is paul@thehandcraftednetwork.com. Also, send me different ideas for podcast episodes. I'm always looking for things to talk about. All right, guys, have a good one. Have a productive week. Hope all is going well as we get into the holiday season here. I know a lot of us, especially my shop, is in the holiday crunch. All right, guys, peace.